I'm Dave D, and you're watching XP Team USA.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's edition of the Big Detecting TV Show. Sorry we're a few minutes late, a few computer issues on Luke's end tonight for a change, and not mine, because mine is now running with a cable and new BT Halo system, so all in all, we should be okay. Apologies again for my bombing out last week with Gary Brunn. To start the show, briefly, just give a few brief reminders that the Detecting Hub, which is a forum for detectorists, is now available. That's the Detecting Hub, if you give that a look. Detector Network, you've seen the advert at the start of the show. Scott Alden was on a few weeks ago, and obviously that's the Facebook type group, just platform, which basically gives you all and sundry that Facebook will, and a lot more, primarily for detectorists. The UK Detecting Finds database, on behalf of everybody who won a membership via Gary Brunn last week. Thank you to Gary. Everyone's had a look. All the feedback I've had off it is an exceptional feedback also, so that's great. And Diggers Dips, anybody wanting to have a little play with some prize draws, go on over and look for Diggers Dips. And there was a draw, more or less a free draw on Saturday night. You could pay for extra tickets. And gosh, 25 top level prizes. And hopefully we've got some big news coming from Digger Dips in the coming weeks as well. Treasure Hunting Magazine issue is out today. And we will jump on over, if you don't mind, Luke, to the Big Metal Detecting Show Facebook page, and we will have a look what's on there this week, because there's been a lot of activity archaeological wise in the UK. There's not been much going on, to be honest, until very last minute today, when this little coin popped up. This was found. It's a rare, come on, open, thank you, extremely rare 12th century silver penny, expected to be X amount of pounds. It depicts King Stephen and was found on the Lincolnshire South Yorkshire border by metal detectorist and owner of Unearthed UK, Mr. Graham Rushton, in 2018. There's only 25 known examples and it'll be auctioned in September. Stephen was the grandson of William I and succeeded his uncle Henry as King of England in 1235. So very nice coin. Very nice coin indeed. Don't you just love things that are as rare as that? As you can see, some of Sky's finds today. Sky's been out metal detecting with her dad Ian, and there's some nice little bits and pieces. As I said, Treasure Hunting magazine's on sale today. Now, Ian Jackson has asked, can anybody help identify that? Personally, I've absolutely no idea. Stuart Payne thinks it looks like a leg off a giant metal bee. Another article that brought back again this week was about a treasure hunter, as they like to call us, finding the Ringlemere Cup. This was back in 2001 by Cliff Bradshaw, or Bradshaw. Why do people not check the spelling? So that's the Ringlemere Cup. Look at that. Isn't that stunning? Showing rivets and lip decoration. Beautiful. Go away. I popped this on this week. I was telling Stephen Gray, as you know, went metal detecting with my dad and my uncles back in the 70s. This is my Uncle Dave and my Uncle Ron with what looked like a C-scope, probably 600 series looking at that. This is at Malfra on Anglesey. I know this for a fact because it's where the Royal Charter crashed and they were gold hunting. Fantastic. Don't know where I was at that point. They say I was there. I can't remember. Spanish police have recovered lots of things that treasure hunters have been... I don't know the laws for metal detecting in Spain. I know Nick West will probably be able to give us some ideas there. But these Phoenician gold jewellery, which could date back to 1200 BC. Lots of things that have been obviously found. Metal detector, and it's been... police have obviously arrested the people who have found some fantastic looking stuff there as well. Another one from Scotland. Treasure hunter who posts his rare finds online has been arrested for allegedly plundering archaeological sites. Oh, this is the same story. I do apologise. I thought it was one in Scotland. Let's remind that. A new article from ourselves. This is from Alison Smith, archaeologist. What evidence do we have for the role of portable material culture, including pottery, in the British Neolithic? So that's on the archmdmag.com if you want to find that. As is another one. Oh, here. This is a book of coins that we were given by my brother, and the little one was having a peruse through the box the other day and found this and decided it was his. And we are missing a 1950, a 1951, and a 1952 Elizabeth II penny. Is it Elizabeth II? I think it is. I don't know. No, it's not, is it? It's George the Sixth. Sorry. So if anybody does have any decent ones of them, he wants to complete his book. So that'd be nice if anybody can help there. There we go. 1950, 51, and 53. Sorry. The other article this week is the bearded axe theory. Now, I've got an appointment on Monday with the Viking axe in Macclesfield, which is one of these throwing the axe places which are coming up. But the chap I've been speaking to, Andy Mayo, is very much a way of life for him as well. So we were going along to conduct a bit of an interview, find out a little bit more, maybe have a throw. So you can probably see a video of me chopping my own arm off this week. And Andy was telling me about the bearded axe theory. Now, if you go onto there, there's a video, short video, about 4 minutes long of discussing the bearded axe theory. This is the bearded axe. You can see it's like a beard. And the theory goes on about how it was used, etc. And it's very interesting. So have a look on there. We've got some more features coming from him regarding Vikings in the coming months, and hopefully he'll be coming on the show too. New series of river hunters coming up shortly. More images of Luke Mahoney's coin finds a couple of weeks, hoard find last week. We are evolving. There is lots of new features coming up. Now, this is a new member. Obviously, I'm unable to pronounce his name. I think he's from Sudan. And he's found this. Phil Chapman says, sadly, he doesn't think it's a genuine sovereign. That's a 1918 sovereign. Battered, but don't know exactly what's what there. Another new member to the group, Ramon Galan. He's in Germany, and he's posted some pictures of some pfennigs that he's found, silver pfennigs. Right, I went out metal detecting with the boy Sadler. Finally took him into the fields. This is a potato farm. And it's just his general pictures of him with his composite cleaning pencil company high-vis that Graham Dempsey sent on over for him. And yeah, he had a great time. Absolutely loved it. The simplex we found was a little bit too heavy, and the coil size was a bit ungainly for him. His swing, he just couldn't get it right. But while I was digging out another hole, off he went. I didn't find anything but a 1700s George Halfpenny. So he absolutely was beside himself. So tomorrow we're going and we'll be on Prestatyn Beach. Another article relating to Luke Mahoney. And I think we'll pop off now. What's this? Oh, sorry, before I go. North of town of dig on this Saturday, Sunday on land with medieval. But so if you want to go on a dig and is not already 100% booked, contact Scotty B for this weekend. That's the news and the views and the interviews. And now I can bring on tonight's guest. Good friend of the show, good friend of mine and Luke's, Mr. Gary Cook. Good evening, Gary.
Good evening.
There he is.
Hello.
How are you, cheeky chops? I'm all right. How are you?
I'm fine. Apart from the fact that the last time I wore a Rodney Cook polo shirt was the last time I come on the show, which was, I think, before lockdown. And it's now exceptionally tight on me. It was a medium, but now I think I could probably do with a large. I think I might have eaten too much during lockdown, Dave. So
I think Mrs. Cook's been fattening you up for something.
She's a feeder, mate. She's definitely a feeder. Yeah, unfortunately, if I'm showing my man breasts, I really apologise. I'll lower the camera a little bit. I don't want to put anybody off their tea.
Well, do you know, Gary, there's a new place opened up by me called Hit Zone, and it's basically these. It's a singular machine with like a big bar that goes up and down, and it's all based on restriction. And I stupidly decided to sign up for it. One of the first people to sign up for it. And I went for my 5th session last night. There's 2 major sessions and 1 core session a week. I have actually lost weight, but I tell you what, mate, it's killing me. It's absolute. I actually fell out of there on Monday. I was that. Yeah. It's a 25-minute class, and you do 30 seconds reps, 30 seconds off, 30 seconds, 30 off. And so you do like 6 different exercises, then you go back to the start. I tell you what, mate, it's killed me. Absolutely killing me.
Is it one of those like where you do like 30 seconds of hardcore exercise?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
I've heard about that, but I think the only restriction I need to do, mate, is the restriction of eating. I think that would work.
Get one of them Hannibal cannibal things and just have it through a straw.
I don't know if you've seen my new mask that Lisa got me, but they've all been taking the mickey out of me. It basically says on there, warning, may start talking about history. So
I saw you having some rigmarole off Mr. Tyrrell yesterday, so that's quite apt.
It's right up his street, actually, to be fair, because obviously he would prefer it was made of duct tape, apparently, to shut me up. It's a good job. I know he loves me, really, isn't it? But,
well, before we start chatting any further, I'm just going to jump into the chat room and say hello to a few people. Being a little bit late on today, we've missed out. So Bob Hope, good evening. Darren Booth, Tony Kaywood, John Webb, Matt All, Detect B, Rob Steiber, Lee Hull, Dave Di Natalia. Good evening, Dave. Nice to see you from America. That's Dave from Team XP USA. Scott Holden from Detector Network. Rob Hunter Collinson, Brad Woolley, Nicola Roberts, John Cornwall, my Auntie George. Hello, Auntie George. Daniel Hunt, Mark 80 Prozac, Adrian Gaylor. And I think that's about everyone. And we are streaming tonight, not only on Facebook, but also on the Detector Network and YouTube. So thank you all for tuning in. So, Gary, it's been a peculiar old few months. Last time I think we spoke, we were both not allowed out.
No, I think the last time I came on was the rally.
Gary's froze. It's like that. Am I like that? Somebody tell me who's like what?
Was
back
again?
He's back again.
Yeah. I went off into some weird, I don't know, science fiction.
You're like Vietnam staring then, Gary.
I thought I'd been abducted by aliens. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought.
Last time we spoke.
Yeah, last time we spoke. The Rodney Cook was on a bit of a knife edge, wasn't it? It was on a bit of a precipice whether we were going to go ahead or not. Unfortunately, obviously, since our last get together, we had to make it wasn't a hard decision. That's just the wrong words. We had to make the decision in the end. It was taken out of our hands, I think. I don't like to use the word cancel because the Rodney Cook hasn't been cancelled. It's just been postponed. So we've postponed it until next year. I think, in all honesty, Dave, I think it was the correct decision and morally the correct decision.
I totally agree, Gary.
Yeah,
I know it must have been a difficult decision for you to make, but I also believe it was the only decision that you could have made, and the same with Detectable.
Exactly. It was. Obviously, you guys know I'm very good friends with Mark Betcher and Karen. They're good friends of mine. I've known them a long time. And we've been in close contact with each other over the last few months, certainly once things started to get out of hand with coronavirus in the UK, and things started to look like they were going to get cancelled, with things like Glastonbury and all of these events getting cancelled. And so we kept in contact with each other on a regular basis, what should we, because we always said right at the very beginning when this happened that because the Rodney Cook and Detectable were literally 1 week apart, they would either both be on or they would both be off. Mm-hmm. Because of the close proximity of the two rallies and roughly the same size. Mark's has a few more people than us. But the two rallies are pretty much, the same sort of time schedule and roughly the same size. We felt that the only thing we could do is you couldn't have one on and then a week later one was cancelled because people would be saying, well, how come one's on and one's the other? Why could So as the time went by and after the show, the last time I was on this show with you, things got worse in the UK, as we all know. We all know what we've been going through the last few months. And I sat down with Dave Crisp, who is the Rodney Cook rally coordinator. I sat down with him. Obviously, social distancing applied when we did this, and there's me, Dave, John Lydall, and a couple of the other guys from the Rodney Cook, and we all pretty much said it was a no-brainer. What you've got to remember, Dave, is with the Rodney Cook, because we raise, it's a pure cancer charity rally, as you know. It's every penny we make goes to charity, and it's a cancer charity that we raise money for. So a lot of the supporters who come to the event and the helpers, especially a lot of the people who mingle around, during the event and work. Well, they don't work; they volunteer for us. Some of them are cancer sufferers. Some of them are terminally ill with cancer. A few are in remission, thank goodness. But a lot of them are actually undergoing treatment for cancer. My own wife, Lisa, she has an underlying health problem with her immune system. She only has I think it's a 70% working immune system. So she was told to self-isolate for 3 months, and she couldn't go out of the house. She couldn't, she couldn't go to the local shop. She couldn't do anything to stay in. So Dave Christmas is saying, the coordinator of the Rodney Cook, he has underlying health issues, so he would have been sort of like worried about having the event. So when you put all of that together, the people helping who have got cancer, a lot of underlying health issues with people helping at the event, and don't forget, the hundreds of people who are coming and mixing together, and the families of all those people who were going to come into contact with them once they go home from the event. We sort of thought, well, no matter how hard you try, you've got the best part of 900 people to 1,000 people at the Rodney Cook, and the same with Detective. And you can try spacing them all apart, but you can't mix. You can't have a marquee if you're going to do that, because how can you get 400 or 500 people all in a marquee social distancing? And no matter how hard you try, we just thought, well, we cannot take the risk of having just one person come to the event who might not even know he's got coronavirus. He might not be showing any symptoms, and he could pass it on to somebody else, who could then pass it on to somebody else. And that by then they could go home with this virus, pass it on to an elderly relative who could tragically get very ill, or even worse, die from the disease. And what an awful legacy to have, that it could get traced back to the Rodney Cook.
Yeah.
That somebody, and with the Rodney Cook is all about prolonging life and helping people with cancer, and help not to put people at risk. So it was hard in the fact that, because we're not raising money this year for the charity. It was a difficult decision to have to make for them, but they completely understood. But as a decision for health and safety and the morally right, it was an easy decision. It was made within a second. And speaking to Mark and Karen at Detective, it was exactly the same for them. They felt the same thing. They could not really risk having somebody come to the event who might have it. The same as us, mate. And it's upsetting. It upset me a lot. I've had so many messages of support, and I'll tell you a bit more about that a little bit later. But everyone, and I mean everyone, I think we had one person out of when we announced it who didn't get funny, but just got a little bit, I think it's not the best. I think you should wait, or you should have it. But everyone else sent fantastic messages of support, saying, we're completely behind you, Gary. It's the right decision. It's been lying. Whatever's lying there is going to stay there. And it's a metal detecting rally at the end of the day, Dave, isn't it? And I know it's a charity one, which is upsetting, but you can't risk putting people's health at risk. You really can't.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, as you know, Gary, I unfortunately got COVID-19 back in April.
Yeah,
and it was so difficult. And to be honest, asthma-wise, I don't think I'm 100% right still. I still think if I breathe in, there's still a point that I can't get past where I used to be able to quite easily.
Yeah.
And I know two people personally who sadly died because of COVID. And I'm not going with all these conspiracy theorists and all these buggeration, but this is, two people who have died and it's been classed as COVID-19.
Yeah.
My wife is acting manager at an old people's home, nursing home. And she comes home every day with tales, and the amount of times that both the residents and the nurses and the carers and the other staff they're all getting tested twice a week now.
Yeah.
But as we know, you look at Manchester, you look at Derby. Is it Derby or is it Leicester? It's Leicester, wasn't it? Yeah, Leicester.
Leicester was one of them.
Both and Aberdeen now. Both have gone back in, or all three have gone back into some form of lockdown.
Yes,
and
right.
A second wave, which the World Health Organization suggested would happen, and was mocked for saying it, looks like it's going to happen anyway. We've had cancellations of flights to Spain again. Yep. So this is all coming at a time when children are due to go back to school next month. And just at that point then, Detectival Rodney Cook Memorial Rally was due to take place.
Well, yeah, that's exactly right, mate. Yeah,
whatever anybody says in relation to, I think you've made the wrong decision. You've jumped too quickly. I don't think in the current environment quickly it's a necessity. It's nothing to do with quickly. It's a decision that needed to be made and was made.
It was made. I've had this conversation in my own head many times. I've had it with lots of other my friends and lots of good mates in the metal detecting community and friends and family. And everyone has said to me, a human life or somebody becoming exceptionally ill isn't worth risking what we are. At the end of the day, I've said it a minute ago. What we try to achieve at the Rodney Cook is to raise money to help prolong life and care for life and to help people with cancer. And there's so many people at the rally who have cancer when they're helping us. People from the charities are there. Lots of people from the Rodney Cook themselves have got underlying health issues, as I said before, including my wife. So there was no other sort of like decision we could come to. And the problem you've also got is what a lot of the people who say, oh, you jumped too quickly or you made a decision too quickly. These guys, and no disrespect to them, a lot of them have probably go to a metal detecting rally and turn up, but they have no idea of what actually goes into creating a rally the size of the Rodney Cook in Detectiveville. You can't just turn up on a field one morning and think, right, I'll tell you what, let's have a rally. Ring up a marquee a minute, Bob. Yeah, okay. And it takes months of planning to get it right. And we don't get it right. You learn from your mistakes, but you have to have a cut-off point where you're thinking, do you know what? If we don't cancel now, the whole rally is going to be a mess anyway, because we just haven't got the time. It's just the logistics of it is just not feasible. And, we had to make that decision because we were physically running out of time to be able to get the rally on to how we would want it to be on, how we would expect the Rodney Cook to be. We pride ourselves with the Rodney Cook on being well run, well organised, and giving everybody what they want at a metal detecting rally. Because at the end of the day, the people who organise it are metal detectorists. So we know what you guys want when you come to a rally, because it's exactly what I want when I go to a rally. So I know what to expect. And we're physically running out of time, Dave. We can't just turn a tap on and everything's going to come out the tap and fall into place. It just doesn't happen like that.
Scotty B's Detecticon was supposed to have been last weekend. And I know the timescale was a lot shorter because obviously with everything that's going on in the world, they've had to Scotty and his team have had to make a decision as well. So it was in a lot short, but that's been postponed. Brilliant thing to do that. But there's still big metal detecting rallies taking place, and I personally can't get my head around that, not in any way, shape or form. I am going to one next week. I've been invited not to participate, to be there at one next week, and I'm very, very wary. Several others that were supposed to have gone to or been there as a part of the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine, I've cancelled, as has Luke, because we don't feel that it's right. We don't feel... I don't know personally. I've not had another test since I've went to Macclesfield Hospital back in April. I don't know how long this actually stays in the system. I don't know if I do have any lasting effects which may be able to transmission between myself and someone else. So, I'm with my wife being a nurse at work. How easy is it for somebody to give it to her? She's not she doesn't come out with her. She carries it. She gives it to me. It's as easy for me to give it to you as it is you to give it to me. So next week I'm only going because I'm going to be masked up and everything. And if I don't feel safe while I'm there, I'll come home.
You can come home. The thing is, the experts don't even know if you can catch it again, do they?
Yeah.
Really? They all say, they like to think that it acts in the same way as a lot of the other viruses that you get, where once you've had it, you can't get it again. But they don't know that for sure. And it's from my opinion with you were mentioning about other rallies. I don't want to. I don't want to get involved with what other rally organisers decide to do or don't do. It's not my place to. At the end of the day, I make the decision for the Rodney Cook based on health and safety, and I felt at the time it was the morally right decision to make. And the same for Detective All, and the same for Detector Con, Scott, and all the other rallies that have obviously been cancelled. Now, I don't know. I'm not up on the laws because when we're all sat looking for the NCMD to come out with the latest regulations, and it comes out, I don't know if you're any better than me, Dave, but I read some of it and I'm thinking I'm no clearer now than what I was before. And then within half an hour of the rules coming out, you could read a dozen different interpretations of those rules from 12 different people. And they're all saying, oh, that's it then. It says it's banned, no more. Then other people are saying, well, no. They're saying that you. So they don't come out. It's not as clear as day, is it, than what we would like? Because I saw the last update that came out, and as I say, there must have been over 12 different interpretations of people coming up with what they thought they were reading. And it's entirely up to, at the end of the day, it's up to, I suppose, providing it's within the law, or I'll be diplomatic, providing it's within the law and they're not breaking any rules and they're not breaking the law and they comply to any stipulations and regulations that the government or whoever makes the decisions, the DCMS or people like that, providing that they are not breaking any rules, complying to all the stipulations and conditions, so they're holding the rally, providing they do that, then that's entirely up to them. At the end of the day, it's up to the people who want to go. So if they're doing these things illegally, if they're breaking the law and they're not complying to whatever they've been told they have to comply to, well, if they get caught, then they deserve to be punished. At the end of the day, they deserve to have whatever repercussions will befall on them. I'm not going to personally attack anybody who are running their rallies, because at the end of the day, provided they're holding them legally, then absolutely, I'll probably end up going to one or two myself, because I feel that, safe enough going to them, providing we stick to the rules. Just because the thing is, the Rodney Cook and Detective were slightly exceptions. You got some other rallies that have taken place. They might have 100, 150 people. And you can segregate and separate that because you don't have a marquee, you have a few toilets. You just basically say to them, look, we're going to have a weekender, but there's no marquee, there's no entertainment, there's no bar. You just turn up into the field. We'll stick a few toilets up for you, which we will clean. Everybody has to social distance themselves from each other. There'll be hand washing stations available for all who wants them. You can't mix with large groups. You have to keep your whatever your 1 meter rule or whatever it is now, and stay within your group who you come with. And then once out in the field, you're separate anyway. So as long as I can't see a problem in that. It's personal choice. But the problem with the Rodney Cook rally and Mark as well, Mark's Detective, is it's the size of them.
Yeah, totally understandable. Yeah,
we had 800 tickets booked and paid for the Rodney Cook, and we still had a month or so to go selling tickets. Now we'd hit capacity really, but we were going to open up some more land. We had a couple of 800 acres sitting in reserve just in case ticket sales went a bit more than what we were looking at. And when you've got that many people, you cannot not have a marquee. It wouldn't be the Rodney Cook if it didn't have a decent raffle, it didn't have entertainment, it didn't have a marquee. And you can't stick 800 people in a field with a couple of toilets and say, there you go, guys.
Yeah. Can I ask, Gary, I know in Detective's case, they have a large French contingent, plus obviously other people from all over the world coming over, and that was going to be an issue with regards to the borders and such like, and people coming in from other countries. Were there many people from different countries attending Rodney Cook this year?
Yeah, last year we had 12 guys from America, we had 4 Canadians and 3 Australians. I think about 15 Dutch lads came over, a few Belgians, and half a dozen French lads. And the same this year. The Canadian guys were coming again. The Dutch lads were coming again. We had at least, I think, 10 Americans booked on, but they've all obviously
but again, this is a decision made not only for health and safety, but for those people who wouldn't be able to attend anyway, given travel conditions.
And we felt that as well. These people make the Rodney Cook. They are the Rod. I've always said in all of my posts on Facebook when I make announcements, I am totally humbled by everybody who supports my dad's memorial rally. It blows me completely out of the water, and my fellow organisers as well, with just the incredible, amazing support that the metal detecting community gives us. And without a lot of those guys coming, a lot of them wouldn't have been able to have come because of underlying health issues. And the guys from Canada who have come to every Rodney Cook, and the guys from America who've come to every Rodney Cook, and the Australian guys as well. It wouldn't be the same without them. And
absolutely,
it wouldn't feel like a Rodney Cook if we did it half-heartedly. If we said, well, okay, that's what we'll do. We'll cut the numbers in half. We'll have a smaller marquee. We won't do this. We won't have any bars. It wouldn't be the Rodney Cook if it wasn't the Rodney Cook, if that makes sense. Yeah. And that was the reason why that we decided that we're not going to do it half-heartedly. It was health and safety, but we could have technically loosed. There is. I wouldn't like. I would like to call it a loophole. It's not the right word, but there was a technicality, I suppose. It's a way of using it, that we could have held the Rodney Cook because we were charity, and we could have. Honestly, Dave, the stipulations and conditions that we would have to have done would have just been absolutely impossible. Can you imagine having to completely shut down a toilet after every use?
Yeah.
Wash it down completely inside and out with disinfectant and whatever else, antibacterial sprays, and shut that toilet down after, even if somebody's just gone in there to wash their hands.
Yeah.
We'd have a marshal post positioned on each toilet and make sure that once it's been used, you can't let anybody else in. You have to wash it down.
Yeah. I didn't realise the stipulations were that bad, but
literally, and you cannot, everybody has to be, you'd have to do temperature checks before they came in and came out. You'd have to, you couldn't have that many people in the marquee. They'd have to be separated, so you'd have to have a limit on the amount you could have in the marquee. Even selling raffle tickets, how do you handle a raffle ticket to somebody? Yeah. And the bar, it was so complicated that we thought one-way systems in and out. Well, that's not beyond the realms of possibility. But you have to make sure everybody complies to that, and you can't have groups of people mingling together. And no disrespect to people, but when they've had a couple of pints, Dave, they're harder to organise than they are. We've all been there, haven't we? In pubs and nightclubs, when the bar, you've had 2 or 3 pints, your inhibitions go out the window, and you start giving your mate a cuddle. Hello, Dave, I haven't seen you for ages. Come here, mate. And you have to have the marshal say, "Oi, what are you doing? You can't do that. Separate."
Can I just say, Gary, by the way you just done that then, it made it look like I was massive. You were like that then. Not that bad. Can I also say that every time you've said that breaking the law, I'm singing Judas Priest in my head every time.
Or what's that one by the Clash in it? I fought the law and the
law won. Yeah. Before we go to our adverts, Nicola Roberts has asked. In fact, I'll read Darren Booth first. Darren, definitely, it's great. Never been to Rodney Cook Rally, but it sounds something I will do one day. It sounds like a good time. Which Scotty B's replied, it's amazing, one of the best rallies going. Nicola Roberts has asked, could you give us a bit of a background regarding how and why the Rodney Cook was set up, please?
Yeah, I've mentioned this many times to people, but there's always people who don't really know why it's called the Rodney Cook. As you can probably tell by my surname, Rodney Cook was my father. and he unfortunately passed away from cancer in 2017. He, without putting it mildly, he was my hero, my dad. He was my best friend. He was not only just an amazing father, he was a good mate. You know, we played football together. We even played in the same football team, believe it or not, when I was younger. We opened the batting in cricket together in a little village team that we played for. We played golf together. We did everything together. We even drank together. Went down the pub. He was one of the boys. So he caught cancer. And fought it for 18 months, nearly the best part of 2 years. Unfortunately, he succumbed to cancer and passed away in September 2017. It devastated me and the family, obviously, and a lot of friends who knew Dad. And it destroyed me, really, for quite a long time. It's the worst pain I've ever had to endure in my entire life. So it's not something that I would wish on anyone. But anyway, you know, that was my dad. And a few months after my dad passed away, I'd gone to my local metal detecting club, Trowbridge District Metal Detecting Club, and they all welcomed me back and, you know, put their arms around me and, you know, said how sorry they were. And they one of them sort of mentioned to me, said, "Oh, you know, would it be great if we could do something to remember your dad? Have a club barbecue or rally or something?" And I sort of started thinking about it. And I thought, well, actually, that's not a bad idea. We could try and raise a bit of money for the new cancer care unit, who were treating my dad. It's Bath Royal United Hospital, and they've got a new cancer wing being built, a new cancer building, and they were just amazing. You know, the support that they give you and the family and the care and everything else. I'll never hear about the word said about the NHS when it comes to helping you with dealing with cancer and the treatment. They were just incredible. And I wanted to try and see if we could raise a bit of money for them. And I thought maybe we could have a one-day dig with the club, and, you know, if we raise a couple of £100, we can donate it to the RUH Cancer Care Forever Friends appeal, because they're building this new state-of-the-art cancer ward which deals with care and support and everything else, and along with the treatment. So it grew from that. It suddenly became a one-day event to a bigger one-day rally, including other groups, other metal detecting groups that we knew quite well. And then all of a sudden, I thought to myself, well, if we're going to do this, why don't we do it properly? And that's how the Rodney Cook Memorial Rally was born. We had our first one in Cirencester in 2018, exactly a year to the day my father passed away. It was a very, very emotional weekend when my mother was in attendance, and it really did. It was very. Well, you ask anyone who was there, and there wasn't a dry eye in the house when we were doing the presentation to my mum, and we were doing remembering my father. And I told the story that I've just said, you know, a bit more in depth about what Dad was and who he was, and it brought back memories to so many people who were in the same position as me. They would come up to me and say, "Gary, what you've just said has just made me think of my dad or my mum or my sister or my nan or my brother," and they're crying their eyes out, and they put their arms around me and say, "You know, I can't believe you've raised these feelings in me again." That and it's suddenly realised that that's what cancer does to families all over the world. And
there was a point last year when you had you stretched something out the entire length of the marquee, and that was because, as you know, my mum passed away 2 years ago with cancer herself, so it hit me like a ton of bricks. And
that was for,
and I'm that big apparently.
That was for the grandson of one of the organisers, Ray. His grandson was currently undergoing treatment for leukemia, and he. Which is one of the charities that we were raising money for last year, was the Teenage Cancer Trust, CLIC. It stands for Children's Leukemia in Cancer, and it's and we also raised some money for Starlight, which were one of these people groups who give families and children like a trip of a lifetime or something they can do. And this little boy is probably one of the bravest young little boys I've ever known. He was only, I think, and do forgive me if I get his age wrong. I think he was about 10 or 11, and he'd been undergoing treatment for a few years for leukemia. And what we did was, when they get a treatment for leukemia, every time they have a treatment of some kind, they get given a bead that they put on a small piece of string. And the bead represents a form of cancer treatment. It could be an injection, it could be a blood transfer, it could be, it could be anything. It could be whatever that they go into hospital for anything. When they finish their treatment, they given a bead, and it gets put on a piece of string. And what we showed last year at the rally was we stretched this piece of string with these beads on it to actually give people a physical thing they could see. Because when you explain things to people, they have a mental image, but this was a physical image that they could see. And it was a length of beads. Now, you were there, Dave. You know how big the marquee was at the Rodney Cook. It was a big marquee.
It was.
Now, this length of string stretched from the stage at the far end of the marquee, and it went 3/4 of the way in length to the other end of the marquee. And there were over 600 to 800 beads on this piece of string. And that, if you put it into context, each bead represented a treatment that brave little boy had undergone for cancer. And that brought it home to people. People were in floods of tears. And when we was talking about, my father and this little boy and other people in the room there's two who were terminally ill, who helped at the Rodney Cook, and might not be here this time next year. We were worried that they were going to be here for this one. Now, God forbid, they might not be with us for next year's event.
Yeah.
And it brought it home, and it was, and this is what we try to get across to people: is the Rodney Cook is that special for what we raise money for, and that, I think, is why we get so much incredible support from everybody, because they know what we're doing at the Rodney Cook. It's not about, the Rodney Cook is for helping people, and it's all about raising money for people, and that is what we're trying to achieve. And that is why, going back, it was such a why it was a hard decision and an easy decision at the same time. It was easy because we didn't want to put people's life at risk or in danger through the coronavirus, but it was sad that we weren't able to raise the amount of money that we do to help all these poor, unfortunate people who are suffering with cancer. And we've at the Rodney Cook, with the 2 weekenders and the one dayer that we've done, we're not far off £100,000.
Yeah.
And we would have smashed last year's title, I'm sure of it, this year.
Oh, definitely.
With what we had going, and that is why I know people laugh and joke and say, "Oh, Cookie talks for England," and he keeps on and he goes on and on and on and on and on. But I'm so passionate, not just about metal detecting. I'm passionate about what we do at the Rodney Cook, and I protect the Rodney Cook with all that I am. I protect what we do. I protect its good name. You've got to remember, my father's name is associated to it, so I have to protect it for my father's sake, and for everyone who works at the Rodney Cook and helps at the Rodney Cook. We have to protect the Rodney Cook's good name and what we've achieved and everything that we do at the Rodney Cook. And if that means cancelling the rally for the year, if it upsets a few people, then I don't really care. It's the Rodney Cook Rally and the name that it stands for, and the health and safety and the care of everybody involved is what matters. And it's upsetting that the money isn't going to go to the charity this year. But by God, we're going to raise our efforts next year, and we're going to make sure that we don't just give them what we could have made this year, but we add a bit more on top.
Absolutely.
Because every penny makes a massive, massive difference to the care and support that families who are suffering with cancer. And it's not, remember, it's not just the person who's suffering with the cancer, it's all the families around them as well that are suffering at the same time. And, you know, it's hard for the person undergoing the treatment and having cancer, but when you're seeing somebody that you care about and you love so much, and there's absolutely, sorry for swearing, but all you can do to help them, you cannot, you know, you wouldn't believe the amount of times I laid in bed at night wishing that I could take the pain and the cancer from my dad and give it to me.
Mm.
Because my dad was a far, far, far better man than what I have ever could be. He was by far a better man than me, and he deserved to be on this planet a lot more than what I did in my head, and I still believe that. And I still say now, if I could go back in time and take the cancer out of my dad, take it out and shove it into me, I would.
Yeah.
And I mean that with the bottom of my heart. I would.
Totally.
I would. Yeah. Because that was the sort of man that my dad was. And the people in the rally who knew my dad, who'd met him, they knew that as well. You know, a good friend of mine, Steve Murray, who helps, he knew my dad, and he knows he lost his dad to cancer as well. So we've all been affected by it, Dave, in one way, shape, or form. We all know someone or have got someone who's had cancer, and that's why the Rodney Cook is what it is. And I might go on about it a little bit too much, but you know what?
You got a right to.
Most of my good friends in the hobby, Pete Turrell, knows that when he winds me up about things, I know he's only mucking about, because deep down he cares an awful lot, the same as me, about the Rodney Cook Rally.
Well, listen, Gary, we're going to have to go to adverts because we're a little bit late because we've been chatting merrily. When we come back, we're going to be... We've got a few more questions for Gary that have been sent in, but also we're going to be looking at Gary's recent metal detecting finds, and I can assure you they are definitely worth waiting for. So see you shortly.
Cheers.
I'm Dave D, and you're watching XP Team USA.
Sadly, Luke hasn't played my favourite advert tonight. Oh, well. Jumping into the chat room briefly. John Cornwall. Dave, be awesome if you were to attend one of Luke's rallies. Believe me, it's a plan. I will get the information off one of the other organisers and I will turn up unannounced one day. I'll come down on a Saturday and stay down there, not tell him, and turn up at the rally. And we'll do a live show. Dominic Tomzik, he says, my daughter Julia loves watching this. Fantastic. Nice to have new people. Dig It Mark, Metal Detector UK, hello to you. Oh, what you going now? Sophie Cook says, hiya, Dad. Sophie Cook says, hiya, Dad.
Hiya, Soph.
I think that's everyone. Gareth Howard. Aaron Weedle, obviously. I missed him earlier on. Stephen Gray. Hello, Stephen Gray. Nice to have you in the chat room. Lovely to see you. I've been chatting to Steve the past couple of days. The question that we've got is that the Rodney Cook Memorial this year that's been postponed, will it be the same time frame, same time of the year in September? And will next year's site be what was going to be this year's site?
Yes, in a nutshell, yes to everything that you just said. What we're doing, we have negotiated with the landowner. To be honest with you, he's amazing. The man who owns where we're going to be this year he lost his brother to cancer, and he's been incredible, a fantastic landowner. Nothing's been too wrong for him. He's helped me in any way he can. So the rally will be next year, exactly the same weekend. I believe it's Friday the 3rd, if I got my dates right, to the 5th of September. Now, Friday the 3rd is a very, 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 very special day. And I will expect lots of presents and drinks. It's my birthday.
You won't have time for drinks.
And I will be 52 by then. So you're meant to say I don't look it, but Dave, come on.
You don't look it, Gary.
Thanks, mate. We didn't pre-plan that at all, mate, did we? Yeah, so it's Friday the 3rd of September to Sunday the 5th. I think that's right. As I say, it happens to be my birthday on Friday the 3rd. So anybody wants to come along and give me a birthday drink, by all means do. I do not.
And if you don't want to buy Gary a birthday drink, I'll drink it on his behalf. Peter Rell said, I really hope we get to see Gary's axe mould. I haven't had a chance to hear about it properly yet.
Tell him to do one.
I'm not saying it. You've already said it.
Go
he also said that you look 60, but I won't read that one out.
There's a little
right, Gary. I'm going to share the screen, and we're going to start having a look at your images. Now, first question that I've got: what machine are you currently using, Gary?
One I've used since it first came out with XP Deus. A lot of people know my association with XP and my love for XP. So I've used a Deus. Literally, I had one the very first week they came out. Before that, I used the Gold Max Power. And before that, I used the 250. And I've used XP forever. Before that, I was using, older machines. I've been detecting such a long time now. But currently, for the last 10 years, pretty much the Deus. So,
marvellous. Well, I've got your images lined up. Just waiting for Luke to accept my share. Here we go. So, here we go. Number one. Now, these aren't in any particular order. I don't obviously know the order of what they are. So I'm just going to go through, and you tell us as we go. Yeah, stunning nonetheless.
Yeah, we recently, myself and Steve, a lot of people know I detected a very good mate, Steve Murty, and we picked up a new farm probably 18 months or so ago now. And it's actually in the last month's treasure hunter, not the new one, but the one before. They asked me to do an article on new sites, and all the finds that you see coming up here are my finds, the latest finds that I've made on this new farm that we've got. And it's simply amazing. So, those obviously are fibulous Roman brooches. And that's just a small amount that have come off this site in the last 18 months, made between me and Steve. These are some of my ones. But what I like about the one in the middle is it's still got some red enameling going down the middle, and some of them coming up with pins as well, which is always nice to have with a Roman brooch. The top one is an early Le 10 brooch.
This top one, that actually looks, and I don't know it, but it looks like it's a hand there where the arrow is. A hand holding something.
Spring. That's
right. It just
spring.
pareidolia making it look like a hand holding it. But
it does a bit. Doesn't it?
Beautiful.
That one and the one on the right are two early brooches. They are sort of like during the 1st century type brooches, and a little bit earlier as well. So they are sort of Celtic Le 10 type brooches. So
I'm with you.
It shows that there's a bit of Celtic activity on the site as well.
I'm just at the same time as I'm doing this, I'm going to have to put my old man glasses on. The work glasses are here. See if I can see it. That's better. These are my work safety glasses. So apologise, I look a knob.
I have to take mine off. So to look at closer things. So
actually no better.
That's the reverse fern reverse of a stator, gold stator.
Right.
It's actually a mix of gold and bronze. It's not a pure gold stator, but it's still classed as a gold stator because it's got more than 10% gold mixed in it.
Yeah, right. I know it's this one. You've got the other side on it coming up as well. There it is.
Yeah, there you go. And that says Anted, I think, at the top. And obviously the three-tailed horse as well on there as well. So yeah, that was a really nice find. Annoyed Steve immensely when I found that because he was only a couple of feet away from me. So he wasn't a happy chap when that one came out of the ground.
Do you know, Gary, the likes of this, and obviously we see so many metal detecting finds on social media, absolutely stunning. For myself personally, living where I live, I don't know many things coming up as often and as well produced as this one is, etc. I'm definitely going to have to start coming south. I'm definitely going to have to make an effort.
Metal detecting, it's 80% luck. And
definitely. You have to go over it to find it.
But the most important thing is having a decent site to metal detect on. You know, the article that I wrote in the magazine was about the thrill and excitement of gaining a new permission, and then the extra thrill and excitement when you actually start finding things on that new permission. Because as detectors, we've all done it. You know, we've all found new farms to detect on, or someone's given us permission for a new field or some new land, and you get on there and you get excited about it. You wait for the moment where you're going to start going detecting, and then it brings you down with a huge almighty crash. All you find is milk bottle tops or vet tubes or shotties, you know, and you find absolutely bugger all.
That was me on Saturday. New permission.
We've all got it. I've got permissions that I go on, and to this day, I still don't find anything on there.
Yeah.
Then every so often you come across like what a famous lager would say if they made metal detecting places to detect. It would be a Carlsberg site. Yeah. This was a Carlsberg site. It genuinely never had any form of metal detecting on it at all. Even the amount of finds that we were making on the surface, and large coins, large Roman coins, large pieces of lead even, shows that it hasn't even been hawked, because where it is, it's so hidden away from the beaten track that no hawker in his right mind would want to go down there, because once in there, you're trapped. There's no way out. There's one very small track in that you need a 4x4 to get to, and that's it. And if you're stuck in there, you can't get out. So you can't see it from a road. So unless you actually physically knew it was there, you just wouldn't be able to envisage going down a 2-mile track in the dark to try and find a field to metal detect on. Because, as I say, the finds that we've been getting from this site over the last sort of like 18 months have been nothing short of fantastic. And, you know, we're very protective of it, obviously. And, you know, it's a great farm. In fact, it's two farms. He owns two farms, two large farms. So I think altogether it's over 2,000 acres of land
Wow.
that we go on. Yeah, it's enough to keep two of us going for the rest of our lives. It really is.
So what's this one we've got now?
That is a silver denarius of the Emperor Vespasian. Yes, you can. There's no point in me pointing at it, but you can just see above his head the VES.
Yeah, there.
That's it, and it's the Emperor Vespasian. So yeah, that was a nice little looking denarius, which we found there as well. Yeah.
Now this is of all the ones that you've had recently, and people have their own opinions on what's the favourite find. This to me, Gary, I've said it to you when you put it on, absolutely stunning. I'm so attracted to this. It's not sexually. I'm so attracted to this. It's stunning.
Don't tell me. No, it's amazing. That it's a Roman buckle, and what they say is it's meant to be dolphins. I think it looks more like fish, but I've been made.
I thought it was horses.
Well, it is. It's dolphins there kissing in the middle, if you can see it. So the actual loop there's the fish's mouth, and then its eyes. The two.
Oh, yeah. I see.
That's the fish, and then you've got this. Whether they're seahorses coming off, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then obviously you've got the horses there. The only thing that is possibly missing, and some were made with, and some weren't, is the ears of the horse.
Yes.
That you can just see on the corner there. It might have come off.
See, it's a bit something potentially.
But when you think that it's potentially nearly 1,900 years old, it's not done bad, really, is it? And you can see the remnants that it was an iron pin on there as well, with the rust that it shows. And obviously the iron is long since degraded.
It's gorgeous.
It's beautiful, isn't it? It's absolutely stunning, and it's the best. I've had quite a few half decent buckles over the years. I've actually got another buckle very, very similar to that, but not in such good condition. The patina on that is just unbelievable. It's
beautiful.
It's
moving
sort
on.
Of fun, sort of fun you make when you sit back and look. Oh, well, that it speaks for itself, doesn't it? That one.
Well, that's a Dave Sadler bucket lister.
Socketed, looped, power stay backside. It's stunning condition.
It is.
And
I'd love to see one of these actually put back together, to get the pieces of wood and what have you, and put it back together to see what it looked like. Not just a recreation or a replica, but actually somebody putting it together, because a lot out there, and just to see what it looks like, somebody doing that would be beautiful.
Well, just to
nice bit of wood.
Just to keep Pete Turrell happy. A few years ago, before I found that, I actually found a mould that they would have used to make that, not that one, but one very similar to that. They had numerous types of moulds that they used. Some were made of clay, some were made of stone, and I believe they even used cuttlefish bone for some type of moulds. And they used different types of. They actually did make moulds out of metal as well. And I found one half of an axe mould not too far away from where that axe had come up, and it's currently in Devizes Museum. And that's the joke with Pete, because he says I talk about it too much.
Is this from the same site as the previous finds, the Stater and the Roman?
Well, the axe head, yes.
Yeah.
It was different fields, but it's the same farm. Yeah, it's the same farm.
So locality, it's been a very busy for the whole time period, from Bronze Age all the way through.
The amount of pottery that you pick up, scanning from all through the ages. Funny, the only thing you don't find there is modern coinage. You don't find Victorian pennies or Georgian pennies. It seems to stop at Saxon and medieval.
And that may be down to the fact that it's the where it is, as you said, it's difficult to get to. So
it literally stops. We've had 2 hammered coins off the whole site, and that's it. And those could have just been a random drops of people wandering across, not actual living there, because there's no medieval pottery. It's Roman, Celtic, and Saxon, and nothing really in between, or nothing after, I should say. As far as late medieval is concerned, it seems to stop.
So we've got obviously we know what that is. That's
a seal matrix. Yeah, that
matrix.
Was I've just contradicted what I just said, but that was off the edge. That was off the edge of one of the farm, which the other farm that we go to is about 2 miles down the road from the site that is producing a lot of the Roman, and not quite as productive, but right on the edge of the field near the road. I found that, but again, it's probably random drops that have been made.
Yeah.
But there's no pottery or anything. There's nothing to show habitation or anything like that on the site.
What does the seal show on this one?
I'm gonna have to remember what it was now. It's a pelican pecking its young, I think, if I remember
wow.
rightly. Yeah, and it's supposed to symbolise some religious symbol or something. But it's like a pelican. Thanks, Ash.
Now that's peculiar because pelicans aren't native to the British Isles, so that's a peculiar seal itself, and that's obviously got a story of the person who owned it, the family actually used that as their herald, more or less. It's very peculiar. Somebody
sent me a really kind sort of like description of what they thought it was, and it was a pelican actually pecking its young, and it's supposed to symbolise something. But for the love of I'd have to look it up. I'd have to look it up for you one day.
Yeah,
but, that's what that does there. Yeah.
Now look at that. Look at the enamel on that. Stunning. What have we got there, Gary?
All I can. It's not. The picture's not come up yet.
Has it not?
No, I'm seeing something. Shakespeare and beyond is what I'm seeing.
Odd. Let me stop sharing and come back to the show. Oh, right. Luke's brought that up.
The pelican in her piety. That's it. Well done, Luke. Brilliant. That's exactly what it was. That's the word I was trying to think of. Yeah.
Very good. Luke, I'm going back to sharing the screen. Here we go. So, where's the pictures gone? There they are. So, what's this one?
Oh, yeah, no, that was that really did take me aback when that came out. It's a Roman disc brooch, complete with red and blue enameling. It's quite a chunky piece. It's, in fact, you can probably get a better idea of the size of it. I'll hold it up for you. There you go. That's it there, and it's a Roman disc brooch, and then obviously on the reverse, it's got the pin.
I see, yeah,
and the catch plate still attached.
I'm looking at you in very, very thumbnail size at the moment because I'm obviously on the images. It's beautiful,
but it's a lovely find. Yeah, that's Charles I, 20 pence.
Really?
Yes. That's a 20 pence piece from Charles I, and it's got the Scottish thistle on one side and if I remember, the English rose on the other.
No, I haven't got.
You haven't got the other side. Well, the other side would be almost identical, and it's got the English rose on the other side, and obviously that represents King of England and Scotland.
Some Romans.
Yeah, just a mixture of a few Roman coins. What we love about this particular end of the farm that produces most of the Roman is the condition that they come up in. It's almost as if the farmer, over the years, hasn't sprayed any chemicals onto the fields. The soil must be relatively acid-free or no contamination in the soil, because the preservation of some of these bronze Romans is just incredible. They come up in such amazing condition for something that has been in the ground for so long. And we all have heard the term Roman grots, and a lot of the Roman coins we find are pretty black and corroded and crusty. But on this site, a lot of them come up in that sort of condition, and it's stunning.
Yeah, fair play.
Yeah,
these are the obverse.
Yeah, that's the reverse. Yeah, you got the Christian symbol there. That's the early Christian symbol. So that's the crossover period when the Roman Empire was becoming more Christian than pagan,
Right.
or not so much pagan. The Romans had their own sort of religion, didn't they? Their own gods. But the Romans were very adaptable at covering both bases. So they would appease their own gods, but they would also appease the local gods at the same time, because they never knew which god was more powerful.
Damn them Romans. What did they do for us?
What did they ever do for us?
A few more and a brooch, fibula.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was as found. A few Roman coins from the site, a nice Roman.
So this just shows that this is as they've been found. There's no cleaning or treatment been done. They're actually coming out the ground in such a magnificent condition.
Yeah, we're blessed to have a site that not only produces a lot of stuff, but the stuff that's found there, the soil conditions must be just perfect for preserving bronze items. Silver and gold items, if you're lucky enough to find a lot of, are relatively good at not getting too damaged because of the nature of the metal. Bronze, on the other hand, is more susceptible to being attacked and damaged, especially from chemicals that were used in the 50s, like DDT and things like that. Those chemicals were literally...
Was that a wrestling move?
Was it? I don't know.
Jake the Snake's finisher, that was.
Yeah. But back in the 50s and 60s, they were pumping all types of chemicals on the ground, weren't they?
Right. Do you know, before we speak about this coin, I honestly, to me, when I look at things straight away, I have an idea what something looks like. That looks to me like somebody putting a big thing of bread in a bread oven.
Well, it's actually... that coin was actually found on a different site. That's sneaked in. That was actually found on somebody who recently asked me if I could help them with their machine. He was having trouble a little bit with. He thought he was having trouble with his settings, and he was having trouble with. He wasn't 100% certain about the farm he was on, and I think he just needed a little bit of encouragement, really. Somebody else to come along and inject a little bit more enthusiasm into it. And when I went on this site, I said to him straight away, I said, the amount of history you've got around here, you're going to have no problems. And I looked at his machine and went through his settings on his dais, and I thought, there's not a lot wrong, really, apart from the fact that maybe you've just been unlucky and not walked over it. And we went out for a couple of hours, and I had that, which is a little silver Celtic unit. And it's actually an eagle on there, on that side. It's meant to represent an eagle. And he had a couple of hammered coins in a Roman brooch. And I left him, I hope, with enthusiasm for his dais and for his site. And he's been messaging me back ever since with pictures of finds that he's made. And he's not going to have any problems with the site that he's on, because it's
fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, this was another of my personal favourites that you've had lately. Did the blue tack come up at the same time?
Yeah. Now, I was told off about that, actually. I was actually said, somebody, when I put that up online, because I wasn't sure at the time if it was an arrowhead or a razor, a Bronze Age razor. And somebody actually gave me a little bit of a ticking off, saying you shouldn't put vines hold them up with blue tack, because the chemicals in the blue tack can attack the metal. And I hold my hands up. He's completely right.
So what was it confirmed to be?
Well, that's the thing. We're still not 100% certain. Now, the general consensus of it, and I sent it to the Flow, his general feeling is it's an arrowhead, and it's a crossover period arrowhead from when the Bronze Age was moving over to bronze arrowheads and away from flint arrowheads. So at the time that was made, they were still using flint arrowheads through flint knapping, but they were starting to create bronze arrowheads as well. And somebody else has said, well, it could also be what they call a Bronze Age razor. But I think the barbs either side pretty much proves that it was because why would you have the barbs if you were just using it to shave? Which I've been told tonight that I'm Ashley Kordowski, that I need to shave, apparently. I'm on lockdown. I'm allowed to not shave.
You're still on lockdown?
I'm working, Bob. Technically, I'm on personal lockdown. I'm working from home at the moment.
Grow a beard, Gary. It'll be far more fun. Big beard, big bushy thing down
I look
here.
like Grizzly Adams. I'm a bear following me around if I did that. That is another little Celtic brooch. That one I just
Celtic,
pop up.
right?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's an early Celtic Latane brooch, and I love those type of brooches. I've got a few in my collection I've had over the years, and it's just the simplicity of them, but it's just they always come up usually with a really gorgeous patina on them. And we're blessed in Wiltshire to have such beautiful objects that we can find in the history that we have. Like is incredible around where I live. I'm blessed, to be fair. And I'm also blessed to have such really good landowners who allow me to go out. I've been doing it long enough to to have picked up some really good sites over the years, and this is by far one of the best. When you think about it, we've only had it for 18 months. There's 2,000 acres. That's the reverse of this brooch, and there's only the two of us who are allowed on it.
Fair play.
That's the reverse of another denarius, but again, it's in stunning
isn't
condition. Yeah, the bronze. That's a bronze. That's a Roman bracelet. That's an entwined bracelet. When I first
you could still more or less you could still wear that today.
Yeah,
wouldn't be fashionable, but it'd be nice.
You could still literally put it on and when I first found it, I thought, if I'm being honest, I thought, oh, it's just a little bit of crap metal, and then when I cleaned it up and looked at it, and I thought that could be a bracelet. Got home, investigated, and I found very, very similar ones on the Portable Antiquities Scheme website, and I was well happy to find out that it's actually Roman.
You could actually blag Lisa and say you've bought her a lovely bracelet.
I could spray it silver, couldn't I? I love. Here's a really old birthday. Here's a really old bracelet for your birthday. There you go, for Christmas.
Antique.
Yes, that's what it is. That's Fortuna, as you can read, going from the left there. Yeah. Fortunae, which was the Roman god Fortuna.
I thought this was a fish, to be honest. So I'm right for a change.
It's actually is it a fish or a serpent? I don't know.
It's a fish, because I want to be right for a change.
I'll take your word for it, Dave. It's
and that's Santa's sleigh at the bottom.
I tell you what, why don't we meet in the middle and say eel? It's long enough.
Tuna.
Yeah, tuna fish for Fortuna. Why not? She's obviously eating it because it's just the bones left.
Yeah, that's a nice hairdo.
Yeah, there you go. That's Julia Augustus. I think that says on the side there, Julia.
Yes, Augustus. Yeah.
So I think she was the wife or the mother of. I'm not sure. I have to ask somebody who's a little bit more up on Roman history, but I think she was either the mother of one of the emperors or she was married to one of the emperors. There's a few Julias, I think.
That'd be interesting to find out why she's actually on a coin then, because generally it is the ruler at the time, isn't it?
Well, yeah, or sometimes the rulers did coins like that to honour their, if they were very close to their father, or they were very close to their mother, or even their wife, they would, because at the end of the day, the Romans were most of the time murdering each other, weren't they, to make sure they kept the crown. So it's actually very rare for them to actually care about their family rather than have them brutally murdered in their thing.
I've learned something there anyway.
Yeah, and I think it was to honour either. Somebody would know. Oh, that's Saxon. That's a sciata or skeet, whichever way you want to pronounce it. Yeah. And a few hammered coins. Now, that's the only hammered coins that we've had off the site. That's the only 4 hammered coins that have come off all 2,000 acres.
Wow.
In fact, tell a lie. I think Steve might have had a quarter and a half from one of the fields where that seal matrix came from. But that's only the 4 that I found.
Titanium ring, Gary.
Yes, yeah, that was my replacement wedding ring that I washed. I lost my original wedding ring swimming, and I didn't have my metal detector on me at the time, so I couldn't go and look for it.
I've got titanium as well, so I recognise that straight away.
Yeah, Lisa bought me that when we were
that's beautiful
on holiday a few years ago. Oh no, I'm well pleased with that. That's what they call a Roman knee brooch. And as you can see, it's like the shape of a knee. Yeah. Again, it's just a condition of it, Dave. The pin is still intact. The pin is fused now because obviously it's got an iron insert, so that's stuck. But
and the patina is beautiful as well.
Yeah, I'm an artifact kind of metal detectorist. I know there's a lot of people. A lot of my friends love their coins. They love hammered coins. I've got some mates who are obsessed with hammered coins. But I'm an artifact guy. I like the personal objects that those people had because coins were not personal to anyone, were they? They were used, they were spent, and they ended up with half a dozen, maybe more owners over their lifetime.
I'm exactly the same, Gary. Exactly the same.
But something like that was owned, unless it was given as a gift to somebody, But that was owned by someone, and it was lost by, and it was something personal to them, And like you losing your wedding ring, like I did, it's personal to you. And I'm definitely an artifact kind of metal detectorist. I've always have been. Don't get me wrong. I've been lucky enough to find some stunning coins. I found it, gold coins, gold hammered, and when you find them, it's just whoa, sort of feeling blow you away. But when you find that, I think it's Septimus Severus. I think that is when you find coins like in good condition like that, of course you're excited.
Oh yeah.
I'm an artifact kind of guy. I like the personal objects. That's a horse and rider. But I was out using my ORX for the day. That is what they call a Roman horse and rider brooch. Now that is, as you can see, it's a man on a horse.
Yeah.
And it's still got some blue enameling in it. And I've seen some beautiful examples of those. They come in lots of different shapes and sizes and different types of examples, but they're usually all based on a horse with some fella sat on them, and they have the little segments inside with different coloured enamel.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah.
Well, that is actually that. We've gone through all the images. Some absolutely stunning ones there.
Yeah,
beautiful.
There was something I wanted to say going back to the rally. That I wanted to say thank you to people about, and I didn't get a chance to say it earlier. I want to thank everybody personally who had come to any of the Rodney Took events, whether it's the weekenders or the one dayers. Everyone who supports the Rodney Cook, I love you all from the bottom of my heart. You all know that. You all know that how passionate I am about them, about you guys who attend. I just want to say one thing though. This year, we sold nearly 800 tickets for this year's event, nearly 800. And did you know that when we put up the cancellation, there was a couple of things I wanted to say about the cancellation. And that is, obviously, all tickets for last year are valid for next year. Okay, so if you've missed the Facebook post or you've missed the emails that we've sent out, anyone who has bought and paid for a ticket for this year, can carry it over to next year. Okay. Now, as a thank you for doing that, we are issuing everybody who does that with 5 free raffle tickets for each main raffle. So for the Saturday big raffle and the Sunday big raffle, you will all receive 5 free tickets for each raffle. So 10 tickets altogether, 5
Fantastic.
for each day. So we'll be giving each of you when you arrive your 5 free tickets. And did you know, Dave, that out of 800 tickets sold, we have only had to issue 30 refunds?
Wow.
Out of everyone who has booked in, and that is just amazing. Everybody has said, "Oh, carry the ticket over for next year. I'm more than happy." Do you know we've even had numerous people, not just one or two, numerous amounts of people message me personally saying, "Keep my ticket money for this year. If you're going to let me come next year with my ticket for this year, keep the money, and I'll pay another £55 next year for another ticket." Because that's how strongly these people feel about the support they want to give us. And that, especially in what's going on at the moment in the world, where a lot of people aren't sure if they got jobs. Some people aren't sure if they're going to still have jobs after furlough in October. Some people are struggling; they don't have a lot of work on. The gesture of that is that it literally just took my breath away. And I sat in a chair and I thought, wow, what an amazing bunch of people we actually are in this hobby. We've all had our ups and downs during this awful time. We've all got our own personal feelings about, whether rally should be on or off and whatever, but that's by the by. We are a great bunch of people in this hobby, and we sometimes don't get the recognition that we deserve. And sometimes we get the bad press sometimes that we don't deserve. And we don't ever get our chance to show people what we're actually about, what we actually are capable of, because the press and a lot of the people are too busy bringing us down and calling us hawkers, calling us treasure hunters, calling us thieves. They're too busy bringing us down to actually listen to a good story about what we're like, what we're capable of doing, and the money that we can raise through rallies like the Rodney Kirk, and the amount of money we can give to charity as a hobby. We don't get that sort of press. They're more interested in calling us thieves and hawkers and digging up scheduled monuments. It makes better press. But
absolutely, that's all it is.
What I'd like to say to everybody is, that gesture that you've done by doing that is amazing. And what I would suggest you want to do, if you want to do that, I'm not going to stop you. Obviously, your ticket for next year is valid. If you've got a ticket for this year, it's valid. Now, if you really want to donate another ticket value, please don't send us in checks or trying to purchase tickets for next year, because you've already got one, and it will just mess up the books, and it would make Lisa worked hard enough as it is. So I don't want to come across as being ungrateful in any way, shape or form. The best way you can make another donation is to make a donation when you arrive on the day. So when you turn up for the rally, we have donation box on the table. If you feel that you want to put a donation in for this year's event via your ticket money, please do. And I will be forever grateful to you guys, and I will thank you from the bottom of my heart. But please don't send us random checks, because it's very difficult for the logistics and for Lisa to get all the paperwork correctly done if we've got checks arriving. And if you put a check in an envelope and put it into the donation box with a little note of who you are, we can then put a big list up and thank you personally and do it the right way. So the gesture, guys, you all know who you are, and I can't thank you all enough for what you do for the rally. I really can't, and your support is incredible and amazing, and I love you so much. I really do. And here's to next year, really, and let's hope and pray that this awful COVID removes itself from the system as quickly and with as little lives lost as possible, and allows us all to get back to some form of normality, so we can crack on and have a metal detecting season, a rally season next year with no mix-ups. We will be having, hopefully, 2 one-day digs between now and September next year. So we're hoping to have at least a minimum of 2 one-dayers, Rodney Cook one-dayers. So keep your eyes and ears open for that, guys. But we're only going to do it if the authorities allow, and if we can have the numbers. Because I know they're saying, that you can. Thanks, John. It's John Rigby from the NCMD there saying he's already booked his accommodation for next year. Well done, mate. Strike while the iron's hot. Get in before it gets too fully booked. And we won't. Obviously, they're saying you can only have 30, aren't they? At certain events. So, we'll do the one-day digs when we feel it's safe to do for the people who help, and obviously, providing we're doing it within the law, then we're holding it. But we'll only do it if everybody's happy about it, and if everybody feels it's the right thing to do.
It's affected us this year as well. Obviously, we produced the magazine for you for last year's rally, and we were producing it again for this year. We actually had six copies of the free magazine due this year, but sadly, due to all the events being cancelled, Detecticon, Rodney Cook, Detectival Spring, and there was 2 others as well. Yeah, well, there was 2 others as well, and obviously they've been cancelled. And we had big ideas for the magazine, the look, the feel, everything about it was going to be a lot more, better quality, really, because Luke's damn near expert at doing it now.
Yes,
we were both excited, and sadly can't do. So
yeah,
there's a couple of things in the chat room before I forget. Hello to Sarah Phillips. She's a friend from back over here, and I'm going to be taking her and her partner out at some point. Chris from Addicted to Bleeps. Good evening, young man. Hope you're well.
Hi, Chris.
Dirt Diggers UK. Scotty DeBay. Scotty has had up today on the beach a big fat gold medallion. And he's had a video coming of that, so people looking forward to seeing that. John Rigby, obviously. Good evening, John. Hope you're well. That's all the other people in there. So
I'll ring you in
the
next couple of days, John. All right, I'll speak to you in a couple of days. I've got to give John a call.
Pomsey found a Pal Stave on the beach. Wow. Amazing. Stunning. Anyway, Gary, we're going to...
Sorry, Dave.
No, go on, carry on.
I saw somebody called Nicola just pop up a minute ago asking if tickets are available to buy for next year's Rodney Cook.
Yeah, Nicola, is next year's open yet to buy tickets?
Yes, it is, Nicola. All you need to do, if you want to come to next year's Rodney Cook, all you have to do is, if you've got a pen and paper there, or maybe Luke can whack it up on the screen for us. It's Charity Detecting Event, all one word. So that's Charity Detecting Event at hotmail.com. All right. If you email us at charitydetectingevent@hotmail.com and request booking details for the Weekender, Rodney Cook Charity Weekender 2021, we will then forward on to you how to book and get your names down. Obviously, we have got an awful lot of people who have transferred their tickets already from this year to next year. So I don't want to sound as if I'm being a salesman and selling to you. Tickets will be limited because obviously we've got so many people already booked up from last year, and it will be exactly the same site, as I said earlier, as it was meant to be at this year, near Marlborough. A fantastic site. You only have to look at the history of Marlborough and the surrounding areas to know that it's one not to be missed. It really is. And I'm actually, a little bit of an exclusive for you, I'm in negotiations at the moment with another landowner next door who's got some seriously looking sexy crop marks on some of his fields. And I'm negotiating with him as we speak to try and let him give us a decent support of land for the Sunday. So watch that. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So, if I can get that, Dave, sorry,
yeah,
I can open up a few more tickets because we've got a little bit more land.
Brilliant. Somebody's put on, you see on the screen now, Dave, PM your address, mate. Got something for the Boy Saddler collection. It only comes up as Facebook user, so I haven't got a clue who that is, I'm afraid. But I will do otherwise. So if Facebook user can actually tell me who it is, I will do that. Or give me an inbox and say it's you, and I'll obviously respond with my address. Anyway, Gary, we're going to wrap up.
Yeah.
It's been another great night. We've obviously got all the information out that you wanted to get out. And we've had a look at some stunning finds as well. So
yeah, I've enjoyed sharing it with you. And hopefully, the site will give up a few more, and I can, come back on. I always enjoy coming on, Dave. I know sometimes when I'm on, it's a longer show than normal. Many of them start to get tired and yawn a little bit. But you know me, I wouldn't be me if it wasn't. And that's that. And I know I'm terrible for that. And
oh, it's no problem. I like chatting myself, as you know. No problem whatsoever.
Yeah.
As I've said to, look at my earphones falling off. As I've said to numerous people lots of times, John Clayton will do. Numerous people lots of times. This is not mine and Luke's show. It's your show. On behalf of the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine, that's what we do. That's our baby. This is a side something that fell into our laps, and we've gone with it, and we've ran with it, and as I've said to everybody, we remain impartial, we remain unbiased. Anybody wants to come onto the show, we're more than happy to have you. There might be a little bit of a wait if we've got 3 or 4 people already scheduled, but the show is entirely yours to do what you want. And if you want to speak for England, speak for England.
Well,
speak for Scotland.
Yeah, you and Luke support the rally massively, and what you do with your magazines for me and the rally and everybody else, again, I can't thank you two enough. You're good mates of mine, and I love coming on and talking to you and blow your trumpet as well, because you guys are brilliant, and your support is fantastic, and the support from everybody, from all the dealers and the manufacturers like Leisure Promotions and Reg and everybody, and all the magazines and you and the dealers and the support that we get is just being second to none. And I can't thank all of you guys enough, really, for it. Just as I said many times, I feel very humbled to be part of something so amazing, and to have my father's name associated to it is even more humbling. To have what great way of keeping my dad's legacy and my dad's a name going. And I might have mentioned this before, but we've raised so much money for the new cancer centre that we're actually having an award named after my father.
That's brilliant.
The award is going to be, when the building is finally finished, there's going to be an award called the Rodney Cook Memorial Rally Award, and
fantastic.
That will forever be above the door of that award. So it's very humbling to have that. It really is. And long may, like I said in a post, Dave, as long as you guys out there support and want the Rodney Cook Rally, as long as you guys out there want it and you support it and you want us to do it for you, we will endeavour to give you an amazing weekend with amazing detecting land, amazing fun, great people. We've always said before, don't worry about if you've only just started the hobby. Don't worry if you've only spent 50 quid on a metal detector and you're worried about being embarrassed, or you're worried about showing yourself up with your experience. None of that matters. If you come to the Rodney Cook, you're joining a family. You're joining a metal detecting community that is willing to help you, support you, and you won't feel intimidated. Don't feel intimidated and don't feel worried. You come to our rally and you will have a great time. And we'll be there to help you and give you techniques and tips. And everybody else there, seasoned detectorists, will help you, and they'll do what they can, because the Rodney Cook Rally is about that. It's not about what metal detector you use. It doesn't matter if your metal detector goes deeper than his. It doesn't matter if you think that metal detector is better than that metal detector. That's not what the Rodney Cook's about. That's not about any of that. It's about people coming together to have a great time, raise money, and enjoy yourselves. And that's the most important thing.
It certainly
is. That's what we do it for.
And it's a feeling like none other when you're there. Detectable is a totally different feeling. They're both fantastic events. I wouldn't have anybody say anything against either. No, but there is a massively different feeling between both. And it's something that I love being a part of. Both of them events are something that
it's a proud
and I'm so gutted that Scotty's event wasn't taking place this year, because that would have been another event that I think would have felt totally different again, and again worthy causes again.
It's all it is, and Detectival is. I've been to every Detectival. I support Mark. I even work at Detectival, as many of you know. I work there. If when the manufacturer, if XP want me, I'm always there for them, and I'm next to the Regden tent, and I'll help people out in whatever I need to do. And Mark and Karen, who run Detectival, are very, very close personal friends of mine. I've known them both for many years, and Detectival brings the world and the community of metal detecting together in one big, massive field, and it gets everybody together to discuss them, the latest machines, and discuss this and do that, and it does it fantastically, and they've got such a brilliant model that works so well that have picked up so many tips from Mark, and he's been amazing to me, and he's helped me so much, Mark Betcher. He really has, and he supports the Rodney Cook Rally, him and Karen, with everything that they have as well. They support it. And that's what it's all about. You're right when you say that. It's exactly right. The Rodney Cook Rally is completely different atmosphere to most other rallies. You cry and you smile, you laugh and you shed a tear at the Rodney Cook, because it gets you closer to loved ones that you've lost to cancer. It makes you think about them, feel for them. And you've been there, Dave, and you've shed a tear there yourself, mate, a big strapping Liverpudlian like you, in floods of tears.
Whoa! What's this Liverpudlian malarkey? I'm from Ellesmere Port. Liverpudlian.
I'm sorry, mate.
And Mark Henderson, I've lost £2.
Oh, there you go. We've all shed tears at Dad's Rally, and you're right in what you say.
It is not just a Rodney Cook Memorial Rally, but is a memorial for everybody in the fact that we do remember everybody.
We remember anyone who's passed away. We think about friends and family who've passed away, or anyone in the metal detecting community who's passed away that year, and it can be very emotional and sometimes, and it can be quite upsetting. But at the same time, we have a great laugh. What other rally gives you a dancing Pikachu at the end of the day? We had a fully grown Pikachu in a Pikachu.
we had a dancing Scotty B last year.
So, and we had a great band last year as well. The 80s Depeche Mode type band, absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
we had comedian. So we have our laughs and we have our fun, and then that's what it's all about, mate. And that's what we try to do at the Rodney Cook, as you know, and that's what it's all about.
John Clayton. Oh, you can't see it. I'm a part owner of Chester Football Club, my friend. He's obviously a Wrexham fan. Right, anyway, Gary, it's been an absolute pleasure having you. Thank you to everybody who's watched tonight. Please come on back next week. We've got Big Finds, Small Finds, who have a YouTube channel. I'm looking forward to chatting to them because Luke speaks very highly of them, and obviously I've not spoken to them before. The week following, we have Catherine Lang and John, can't remember your last name, sorry, from the Detecting Hub, which is a new forum which has recently been set up and released. So we'll be finding all about them and the Detecting Hub itself. So without further ado, I'm going to go and see if picnic's sorted, because tomorrow we're going to Prestatyn because it's going to be nice. We'll be spending the day on the beach. And the fully charged Simplex is already by the front door.
Get your sun cream out, Dave, because it's going to be hot, mate. It's going to be hot.
Oh, it's all right. I'll wear clothes. You take care, Gary. It's been an absolute pleasure. And please send our regards to Lisa as well.
I will. She's out with a friend tonight having a pizza. So
women going out.
Yeah, I got with it. She works. She deserves it. You take care, everybody. All right.
And yourself. Thanks again to everybody in the chat room, and especially to Gary Cook tonight. And of course, it wouldn't be made possible without Luke's hard work in the background. So thank you, Luke.
And
I'm Dave Sadler. That's Gary Cook. That's Luke Higgins. Good night.
Take care.
I'm Dave D, and you're watching XP Team USA.